Welcome back, everybody, to Glaze Game Gestures Episode 8. I just got back from a recent little dork convention, I guess, if you will, and I wore my Ninja Turtle shirt, and I still have it on. And I have very few pickups I'd like to discuss that I was very fortunate to pick up. Chrono Cross for PS1. I know I already discussed the PS1, but what hasn't been said or what can't be said about Chrono Cross? It's essentially the sequel to Chrono Trigger, which was on Super Nintendo. It's 20 years after the events of the first one. It's RPG made by Square Enix. You know, I don't care if it's the greatest hits version or not, the green one, but, you know, it was brand new, sealed. However, the seal to me looked more or less like a third-party kind of plastic seal, because it kind of like enclosed a little odd here. It's still in relatively good condition. It looks like it's brand new. It might have been the original seal. I'm not necessarily sure, but it didn't look right like a normal seal would have, and it would have had, I believe, the clear to reflective marking up here, the sticker that would have said Chrono Cross PlayStation, and like some sort of barcode. But I didn't see that. It might have been a third party, like I said, seal, and that's fine. The discs are in great shape. They must have had it like this, and they're like brand new. You rarely ever see that for a PlayStation 1 disc. It's a dual disc. It's obviously complete in box. I have the manual right here. The second disc on the back. That's what I love about the old PS1 is they decided to utilize just a thicker box and flipped it both ways. Super cool. I'm so stoked to have this in my collection and hopefully start this sometime soon. I also was very fortunate to pick up Grandia 2 for Dreamcast. Yeah, it's not the same case as it should be. It's a third-party case. I could care less. It doesn't say Sega or Dreamcast or anything in it. But, you know, the message is still there. The front and obviously the back. It's a it's an RPG hack. Well, not necessarily. Yeah, it's like hack and slash turn-based. It's a little mixture of kind of the two. And, I mean, for those of you who know Grandia 2, Grandia 1 was on PlayStation 1, and it looks like it's a brand new disc. I got them both for a relatively good deal. I think I got Chrono Cross for like 25, and I think I got this for like 30, 35 around there. Probably because it's not the original case. I could care less. The fact that I own it and I have some sort of label that I can put it on my shelf and it looks fine and it plays well. I've tested them both and they run flawlessly. So I'm very fortunate to have these and play these someday. I also mentioned before, yes, I have the Metroid Official Strategy Guide and I have it bookmarked. I have it bookmarked with a staple right here, or not a staple, excuse me, a paper clip. That way I know where my location's at when I decide to get back into the game, which has to be soon. I have to start playing this again. Otherwise, I'm not going to know what to do, because I still remember what to do relatively for the time being. But the moment we've all been waiting for while we're here is I'd like to discuss the PlayStation 2. One of my favorite controllers of all time. I actually denoted this one, the one that came in the box. I'll show the box here in a minute. With a blue Mario sticker or one of the toadstools that I have, because I know that this one doesn't necessarily work. The other one does work, and this is how I know. I kept it because maybe I can fix it someday. But the analog stick, they both feel really well. They click well. I have no qualms there. The D-pad feels looser compared to the PlayStation 1. And the L1, the R1, the R2, L2, it all feels good. I like the concept that you can press the analog stick in the middle and whether you want to use these or not depending on the game. It's a little more lightweight, I feel like, compared to the PS1, or it's relatively the same. They both feel good regardless, and obviously the PlayStation 1 controller also does have the analog sticks included in some instances, but I like that they decided to change the color up, and I think it's very fitting for this console. PlayStation 2, we all know the big, fat one. I don't have the slim. I like this one. There's the expansion bay on the back. The barcode was scratched off. I cleaned it. The fan works well. It's pretty quiet. The multi-out, it's the same as the PlayStation 1. It's different than the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast does allow, as well as this, the DC, the power cable. The PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and the Dreamcast all have the same power cable. The on and off concept is really simple and cool to understand. I like that, unlike the PS1, you can put it either on its side and it runs fine, or put it flat on its legs that are underneath here, the rubber padding. I like to have it this way, personally. And I really, really like the blue. It just looks like futuristic. The PS2, super, super cool. And they even, paid homage to PS1 and have their original reflective logo right there, the red and green, yellow and blue. Super cool. And you can mod these things nowadays, with just a USB hard drive and a particular memory card. I've seen people do it. I haven't messed with it. And what I really liked about it at the time when I had an original one, this isn't mine, I purchased this recently, I'll get to that in a second, is that it was a DVD player as well. Like, DVD players back then were going for a lot of money. The fact that this was able to play DVDs and play games, I was sold. But it has a little bit more weight to it compared to the PlayStation 1, but there's a lot of ventilation, and the fan works. Like I said, it's quiet, it runs well. And I remember playing Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 online with the Ethernet cable, which was odd back in the day, but it worked for the time being. It was ahead of its time. Sony PlayStation 2, I absolutely love this thing. It's still one of the biggest libraries in gaming history and some of the greatest games of all types of genres, to me, in my opinion. Well, actually, the fact that it has the greatest game library is still truth, but as far as the greatest games, that's obviously my opinion. I purchased it with the box for $60 at a thrift store a couple months ago. And the styrofoam's all in there, everything, it's all in there. And I just hold on to the box because obviously it's, complete in box. It's more sentimental and it's obviously worth more money, but that's neither here nor there. I'm holding on to these because I want to play them. I could care less how the condition of the box is. The fact that I own the box, it means a lot to me because I've seen the box and the gaming system and controls and all the cords go for about $120, $180, but the fact that I got it for like a third to, let alone half of that or whatever the case may be, like, come on. And I still have the receipt, apparently. I saw the receipt's right here on the bottom. But anyway. All right. Now the games. I'm going to briefly go over my relative stack of PlayStation 2 games. Wipeout. It's a third-party... Actually, yeah, it's a Blockbuster case. I just found that out. I just realized that. A buddy of mine bought it for me. It's kind of like F-Zero meets a Jet Moto. I'm really not a big racing game fan, but I know he bought it so he can play it as well. I'm going to have to bring this out so he and I can play it. And, I tried it out when I didn't have a memory card at the time, and it works really well. I really like those memory cards, too, on PlayStation 2. By the way, I like that it's black and it corresponds with the console itself. And there's obviously 2 ports just like on the PlayStation 1, and it holds, plenty of kilobytes of storage, so... It's great. Star Ocean, picked this up at a thrift store recently. It's a dual disc, made by Square Enix. And admittedly, I know it's an RPG because I remember looking this up and looking at the title, and obviously Square makes a lot of RPGs, and I don't necessarily know enough about it to talk about it, but I'm glad I have it, and I will gladly get into it one day. Metal Slug, SNK, Neo Geo. Come on, man. Neo Geo was... one of those really expensive consoles back in the day. It's still really expensive now. It's just cool to collect for what console I have it on or not. I do have a Neo Geo Mini, which I will discuss in another episode. But Metal Slug 1 through 6, including X, I got it at a thrift store, I think, for like $2-3. I cleaned it myself. It runs just fine. I'm happy to have Metal Slug. I'm a die-hard fan of run-and-gun shooters. Great game. Kingdom Hearts 1 with the Greatest Hits label. I could care less what label it was. The fact that I own Kingdom Hearts 1, and I do have 2, it's in a loose case. I'll discover the loose games shortly. Kingdom Hearts 1 it's great. It was revolutionary. It was groundbreaking. The fact that there's Final Fantasy in a hack and slash kind of relative turn-based per se, with weapon upgrades, character development through the Disney era of playing like the boss gauntlets on the Colosseum, and then playing Yensid, the giant like Satan-looking Disney boss, and then going to Nightmare Before Christmas and fighting Oogie Boogie. Like, this was it was a great game, and the last boss itself was like 6 bosses. It was a great game. It's a little corny now. I think it still holds up. It's better than 3. Don't even get me started on 3. But Kingdom Hearts, what hasn't been said already? Like I've said before, Square Enix, great game. I'm nostalgic for Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer because I like to surf, and it was also ported on GameCube as well, and it's relatively similar to Tony Hawk. It's not as convoluted as how other Tony Hawks kind of became, but there was only one game made, and I got it at Goodwill apparently for $6. I still haven't taken the sticker off, and I love this game. I haven't played it since I had it as a child. Well, not necessarily a child, adolescent, we'll say. But I think I'll love it just as I did then. I just haven't started it since. Jack and Daxter 1 and 2, greatest hits, the Black Label. I know there's a third one. I haven't gotten it yet. I will eventually. I haven't actually played these. I remember they were relatively similar per se to Ratchet and Clank. I like that kind of platforming, adventure-y, kind of hack and slash, weapons and upgrades and so forth kind of concept. It's, you know, made by Naughty Dog, the same guys who did Crash Bandicoot. It looks like it's more or less their kind of idea to a mascot type of game, which is fine. I mean, I have no problem with that. I will gladly start these soon one day. I'm glad that I picked these up for relatively cheap at thrift stores. Now this game, I lucked out, and when I opened up my box, this box was in there, but the game wasn't in there. I plugged in the console, opened up the tray, and the game popped out. Sometimes you win, you know, sometimes, not all the time. And it even has the original poster, which is super cool. Once I get a proper game room, I'll gladly put that up in my my game room. But, you know, Grand Theft Auto, made by Rockstar. They made a lot of great games. I love Red Dead Revolver and, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, and so forth. But I've played the Grand Theft Auto games, but I more or less just, you know, did the cheats and spun around and then just got like cops on me and just, you know, blew stuff up. I didn't really follow the stories. But now that I'm older and can understand how to play them, I will gladly start playing the stories. God of War 1 and 2 plays Kratos, however you want to pronounce his name. Greatest hits, Black Label. I could care less, as I said before. These are fun, or as far as the labels go. These are fun hack and slashes, you know, beat 'em ups relatively. You know, there's very well story driven, you know, strong language, which was cool. And it was really cool to see a kind of Roman or Greek aspect of the mythos in these types of games, and it was really cool, great graphics for the time. And it's nice that God of War is a 2-disc set, the one that I have. I'm happy to have that one, like the special edition. And I beat these as a kid. I loved them. The only gripe I had was when you would go to like the Hades realm and those puzzles going up through like the totem pole, spinning around like spikes and bones, and I wasn't creeped out. It was just really difficult from what I remember, but I will gladly play these again someday. Final Fantasy 12. Yes, 12. I can count, right? Black Label. Admittedly, I don't really know too much about Final Fantasies, and I probably should. Like I've said before, I play other RPGs, but I need to get into more RPGs. I picked it up because of the title alone. It was a clean disc. I will gladly delve into this one day. Devil May Cry 3, 2, and 1. I beat 1 as a kid. This isn't my original, and I know now that it's 3, 1, 2, 4 is the story. And I will gladly play it in that particular chronological order. 2 and 3 I picked up at a retro gaming store. And 2 at the time I didn't realize was missing a disc. Luckily I found the disc loose at a different thrift store. I could care less what condition it's in, but it's all there. These are great games made by Capcom. And I'm really looking forward to playing this series. It's like a demonic kind of hack and slashy. Yeah, I mean, we all know Devil May Cry, for those of us who play it. 1, 2, and 3. I'm looking forward to playing it for sure. Burnout 3. As I've said before, I'm not a big racing fan, but this one set the standard for me next to like Rush on N64. I really like that concept of like you can blow up the cars and cause chaos, and they were either rewarding you or, you know, penalizing you. But the music, the graphics at the time, I mean, it's an Electronic Arts. You know, Trip Hawkins was the one of the founders of Electronic Arts, and you know, he's contributed a lot of his efforts to these games, and I really liked this racing game. This was probably still one of my favorite ones. You know, there's always Project Gotham and, you know, Top Gear and whatever other people play, Forza, and I don't know. I know the titles, I just don't play them as much as I should, but I remember liking the music in this. I think it had like Halifax and like other kind of alternative-y, pop-punky at the time, and, you know, it was a really cool game. Burnout 3, Takedown. Rockstar. Bully, Black Label. I paid $10 on OfferUp for this, and it has even like cheat codes, which I'm kind of stoked to use. There's a poster in here, the manual's in here, the disc's in great shape. It's an original case. I'm very happy to have this. This was a sought after game for me after I heard Adam Blank's Remember the Game. They were talking about Bully, and I was like, I remember seeing this come out as a kid, and I always thought it looked stupid, and for some reason I judged a book by its cover. But, you know, without the use of productive internet and us researching what games we wanted to play, we looked at it and we're like, oh, I don't want to play a boarding school game. That looks stupid. And then I heard about it, and I was like, wow, I got to get this. And I'm glad it was only $10. I'm really looking forward to playing this one as well, along with all the other backlog of games I have. But I bought the PlayStation 2 at a thrift store, and this was right next to the box as well. And I was like, okay, I'll purchase that because I didn't open up the box. I didn't realize what was in there. And it's a Konami shooter. There's 60 different levels. Air Force Delta Strike. It kind of has that like UN Squadron kind of from a Super Nintendo kind of 16-bitty dashboard look, and then you go out and then it's kind of like an afterburner, like modern, up-to-date relatively meets like Rogue Squadron, and it was cool. I didn't have a memory card at the time. I didn't save it, but I'm glad it worked, and it seemed pretty cool. It was relatively futuristic, and it's also compatible with the Flight Force joystick for a PS2. I'm looking forward to playing this at some point too. They're all in relatively good condition, these games. But that is my log of PlayStation 2, and then the other games that I was able to show you that I was able to pick up today. And, you know, game on. Thank you for the support. Have a nice day, and, you know, stay safe. Thank you.